What's going on, guys? Well, I got another knife here to do a review on for you. Today we're talking about the last knife in the GearBest shipment that I got, and this one is another Ganzo, so another affordable or cheap, depending on how you want to say it, one and the same, right? Some people don't like me saying cheap because cheap may refer to the quality as opposed to the price. Well, it usually goes hand in hand, right? Usually if something's super cheap, it's usually cheaper in quality. Not always the case, but anyway, you know, just saying, I use those words interchangeably. So, but for this video, let's just say this is an affordable knife at $18. The black version is $18. However, they do come in an orange and a army green variant. Both of those are $20 and change. So there's actually $2 and change difference between the colors. Doesn't really make a difference. Maybe it has to do with the stock, you know, how many are available in those colors, whatever. $2 difference, so let's just call it a $20 knife, but these are currently $18 from the site. So, of course, all the knife people out there already know what this is, and if you don't know, this is yet another copy from Ganzo, which they're pretty good at, making copies of knives, only putting a little twist on them here and there. For example, this particular knife is a copy of the LionSteel SR1, which is a really good, high-quality knife. It also has a high price tag. I go for about 230 bucks or so, just depends on the variant. Whereas this goes for $18. So why would you get this over that one? Well, because maybe you can't afford the $230 one. Maybe you want to try it out before you save up for it. Maybe you have a bunch of money, but you just want to try the cheap version first to see if you like the design. Whatever your reason, it is what it is. A lot of people don't like these because it's stealing a design. Yeah, when I do these reviews, I try to take a very unbiased approach. I'm here to tell you if it's a good quality knife or not from experience, and that's basically all I can do. I'm not here to give you moral advice. I like to do reviews on copies. I don't really like to do reviews on counterfeits because that's a whole different thing. There is a fine line between a copy and a counterfeit. It is a stolen design. In my opinion, purchasing something like this does take away from LionSteel as a company. That's my moral stance on it. I did not purchase this knife. This knife was sent to me by GearBest to review and see what I thought of it. I personally wouldn't spend any money on it because I do feel like it is supporting it. So there's my moral stance on it. However, there's always going to be a market for everything. And like I said, I'm just here not to say go out and get one, but to tell you what I think of it in case you already were thinking you might want to get one. So I don't want to influence whether you're going to buy or not, but I'm here to tell you the facts. And the facts are that Ganzo as a company has very much been inconsistent, okay? And that's what you're getting with your savings. By spending $18 as opposed to the $230, you're kind of getting a crapshoot. This sample happens to be a really good version of this knife. But with the other Ganzo knives I got before, they've really been hit and miss. The very first one I had, which is the Rat 1 copy, that was a total piece of junk. The lock sucked, absolutely sucked. And as you can see here, there is a Benchmade Axis lock copy, again, in addition to the SR1, overall theme here. So they're taking two different things from two different knife companies, slapping them together in their cheaper version, and that's what you end up with. So, it's so hard when I do these reviews because I get a lot of flack and a lot of comments about it, like, hey man, you shouldn't be supporting this. I don't support it. I'm just here to tell you, what it is. So what is it? This again is a copy of the SR1 from LionSteel. If you like this design, you happen to get this knife, go ahead and save up and get the real one because it is 100 times different. All right, I mean, it really is night and day. However, because the real knife is such a good design, that's why it is copied, and this particular copy happens to be a good version as far as the cheaper versions go. There's no blade play at all. The lock is easy to use, unlike some of the Ganzos that I've used before. As far as the centering on this, the centering is a little bit off to one side. Again, really showing the inconsistencies because I've seen other people who have these that they're perfectly centered. Some people have these where everything's awesome except for the lock. I've heard of some people getting these and they're just dull out of the box. This one happened to be sharp out of the box. So yeah, I mean, if you want to save a bunch of money, you're taking a chance. You might get a good version of it. You might not. If you take 100 of these and put them next to each other, you're going to find inconsistencies. And again, that's where the money savings is. They're pumping these out. They're not coming up with their own designs or anything. They're just looking out, in the knife industry, seeing what's popular, nitpicking this, and this, slapping it together. and selling it for a cheap price. All right. So anyway, as far as the specs on this one, 3.5-inch blade, quite a wide blade, you know, by design here. Close length is 4.7 inches. Again, these are G10 scales. All right, fairly thin. The texturing on these scales are very, very aggressive. There are deep horizontal, well, if you look at it this way, they're horizontal, you know, cut marks in here, and it really facilitates an awesome, awesome grip. I really like it. It's very comfortable. In addition to kind of the wider handle here that's very squared off on the back, but we have a big palm swell. Okay, so naturally a little bit of a finger choil, it creates a guard here, and that palm swell really fills the hand. It feels very, very comfortable in the hand. And the pocket clip is nice and smooth, so even though this is part of your grip, I don't find it to be creating any kind of hot spots or anything. It's not uncomfortable. It's actually a very comfortable knife to hold. A little bit of a thumb ramp on our blade here, but it's jimped, but it's not purposeful. Very rounded, you know, it's not grippy at all, just kind of there. Our grind is almost a full flat ground blade. I mean, you can see it comes short here. It's probably more like 4/5, you know, flat ground. And again, this particular sample was sharp, you know, out of the box, but you know, just being inconsistent. 440C is what it is marked on the blade. In using this knife, I'm going to say that it's possible. There's no way to really tell for sure. I mean, you have to go by people's words. I suppose you could say the same thing for any company. But with some of the American companies that are out there, they stand behind, you know, what they're saying things are. People believe it. People actually do test them. I'm sure somewhere on the internets you can find someone who tested the molecular structure of this this knife and can tell you if it really is 440C or not. As far as just from a performance standpoint, it's decent. It's okay. It's not blowing me away. It's not, you know, super crappy or anything. It gets the job done. I did have to sharpen this once since I got it, but other than that, just kept it stropped up and it still, you know, held a okay edge. That's all I can say is it's really just an okay edge. Doesn't blow me away. Big lanyard hole on here. If you notice the pocket clip, you see we have a tip up right side carry. It is a deep conceal clip. All right, so when it's in the pocket, you don't see anything except for the top here. It is swappable to the other side. However, we have this weird proprietary decorative screw, okay, which comes to a little bit of a point. I don't think that's enough for like a glass breaker or anything, if that's your concern. I don't really know. Maybe that'll do that, maybe it won't. Probably never need to actually use it for that. However, my point here is that you're gonna have to kind of finagle this thing, maybe with the tip of pliers, and to put into those holes, you know, and turn those. I've actually, not this particular one, but I've had screws similar to this, and I took 2 micro Phillips head screwdrivers, held them like chopsticks, put the tips in the holes, and then used that to unscrew it. Definitely taking a huge chance there in marring that up or stripping those completely and making it look like junk. If you can somehow get that out, you can certainly swap the clip. My suggestion is, because this is a cheap metal, and I'd put a lot of money on the fact this is probably not hardened. You could probably take a Dremel, all right, and use the cutting disc on a Dremel and just put a simple slot right down the middle. Then you can use a flathead, all right, to unscrew that if you did want to swap the clip or take the clip off or something without really ruining it, right? Then at least it'll give you access to it in the future where you can take it on and off or whatever. Just my suggestion. As far as the weight on here, 7.23 ounces. It is a little bit chunky. You can see there's full metal liners on here, but they are not skeletonized or anything. All right, so no attempt to reduce weight. There is a 3/4 back spacer. Okay, so slight flow through, but mostly our back spacer, which I'm assuming is the same G10 as our scales. It's you know, it's pretty decent. Again, for 18, 20 bucks, depending on the color you want, it's worth it. I'd rather see people, you know, buy other, you know, it's weird because I'd rather see you guys support, like, say, Spyderco and get a Tenacious. It's still in the price range-ish, or one of their bird knives or something. But to be honest, even American companies, their more affordable lines are usually things made overseas in China, probably in the same friggin' factories that these things are made. You know what I mean? So you're just not going to find an $18 knife that's great quality that's made in America. It's just one of those things. It's very rare. That's why people turn to knives like this, you know? I mean, my suggestion is always going to be save your money, get quality, you know? But that being said, there's always going to be a market for this. There's always going to be, you know, people who just don't want to spend that much money, or My biggest reason for doing reviews like this is, let's say you really wanted the LionSteel, the SR1, but you just don't have the coin for it and you're wondering, you know, is it really worth it? That's where these really kind of shine. That's where I see these being beneficial to people, because you can get this and you can really get a feel for what it's going to be like as far as the design. All right, so if you got something like this and you really liked it, like I said, I do suggest supporting the companies, the actual knife makers, the designers who come up with these designs, and save the money and get the real deal. You know what I mean? Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.